Good morning. I just want to show you a quick video on the Ichimoku looking at the NQ yesterday on a 2-minute and 5-minute chart. This will go in line with the info that I presented in last week's Ichimoku webinar, whether you use the components on equities or any instruments that you trade in the futures, whatever you trade, Forex, you can make use of these Ichimoku components. What I will say is that if you trade off a very small chart for day trading, like a very small tick chart or very small range chart, this is not going to be something that you're going to want to use on such a small chart. But you can use it on a larger chart to confirm entries that you're looking to take off a smaller chart possibly. Okay, so let me show you. All right, so you're looking at the NQ for yesterday, the 18th of December, and this is a 2-minute chart. This is a 5-minute chart, and the components I have on here are the cloud, which you see. The white line is the Chico line, and this pinkish line is the Kijin line. I don't really use that for anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that real quick. Okay, so that's better. So now all I have on here is the cloud and the Chico line. Now the Chico line plots 26 periods behind the current period. So this is this morning right now, so you can see where price is forming, and the Chico line is going to be 26 periods behind. So the reason I'm pointing that out is while I'm showing you what I want to show you from yesterday, I just want you to keep in mind that Chico line was behind us at this time. So I'm going to go over it. So we talk about price coming outside the cloud, and that would be an entry opportunity. What we've also talked about is if the cloud is very small, you're going to be cautious, because generally that's telling you that price is pretty congested or in a congested area and likely going sideways. So here's the 2-minute chart. Here is the 5-minute chart. So right here where you see price coming out of the cloud here and here and here, if you look back at that time, this is where the Chico line was forming. And if you attended last week's webinar, I mentioned, if you recall, that if the Chico line is under the cloud and you're trying to take a buy with price coming outside the top side of the cloud, what can happen is the Chico line can come up, hit the cloud on the bottom end here or the top end, or just get stuck in the middle of the cloud and then pull back off of that. And that's pretty much what happened here. You see it got stuck. So here's where it is. It gets stuck, pulls back, and then it does manage to get out up here. You can see it here and here. So I mean, you could take an entry above this bar here, but what I want to point out is this is the 2-minute chart. If you also look at your 5-minute chart at that same time, so right here you'll see where the arrow is. That's where price is on this 2-minute chart. You can see price is under the cloud, also the Chico line back here in the cloud. So this 5-minute chart does not agree really with the 2-minute chart entry opportunity, right? Because price is under the cloud. Ideally, we would want the 5-minute to agree for a buy as well, or already be above the cloud when you're looking to take a buy on this 2-minute chart. Back here at 11:46, you can see prices coming outside the cloud here. And this is where the Chico line is at that point on the 2-minute chart. So everything agrees for this buy on the 2-minute chart, right? We have the Chico line above the cloud, above price. You have price coming outside the 2-minute cloud here. And if you look at the 5-minute at the same time, this is where price was here on these two bars when we got the break of the cloud on that 2-minute chart. And if you look back 26 periods, you'll see that price was, the Chico line was actually back here above the cloud and above price. So we're actually good to take this as a buy. Now, obviously taking an entry off a 2-minute chart, you're going to have to use a bigger stop. But then the other option is, now that you know that this is set up for a buy, you could look to enter in off your range chart or tick chart. One thing that I would definitely be aware of if I was taking that trade is that I would look at these swing highs here, where we created some little bit of consolidation. You can see it back here. So one thing that I would be aware of when taking that is that could possibly be an area where price could get stuck. You'll notice when it does break, price does break this blue line here that we just drew, the Chico line was also breaking above there, and that was actually right here. Right here. So that's where the Chico line was at that time. You can see it kind of gets a little stuck there. And then I think the volume was pretty light yesterday afternoon till the end of the day. But this is a great example of looking at two different time frames and getting them to agree. One other thing I want to point out is you can see price breaking outside the cloud here as well on the downside. The cloud's pretty flat, but if you were thinking you were going to take a breakdown, and again, this I did go over during the webinar for breakdowns. If you wanted to take that as a breakdown, or even, back here, you could see that Chico line was not breaking that area of support. So ideally, if you were going to take a breakdown, you'd want to see this Chico line breaking through that area of support as well. Okay, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, certainly feel free, send me an email. If you want the webinar recording, you can just go to my website and click on the webinar recording tab, and all the information is there. Hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you later.